Like in other countries, you are allowed to drink alcohol and make like very adult decisions like that at the age of 16. And it's like, okay, well, we talk about how behind we are as compared to other countries, but it's like, okay, but we're not even giving them.
That's also a slippery slope in itself too, because when it comes to like child exploitation or like using, like I understand like your drinking point, but like they like.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying like they have. I'm not saying we should do that. Like make it so that people can just drink at the age of 16. But I'm like they're being pushed to these things sooner. Yeah. If it's like, hey, you're gonna need to grow up because you're about to be allowed to legally drink. Like you have to think about these things.
I 100% agree with that.
You're not thinking about that at the age of 16. You're thinking about it at the age of 12.
But also those same countries that you bring up, underage sex is okay over there. Those same countries.
That was what I was kind of more alluding to.
Hold on.
Yeah, look it up. Look up Italy.
What's the country I'm thinking of? What's the drinking age in Spain?
No, look up Italy. It's like 14 to drink, shit. And it's also 14 to...
Oh, you're going to have to delete first. Oh, actually, maybe not.
Why was 69 drinking in Spain, bro?
18 years of age.
In Italy.
Or I thought...
18 years old as well. Okay, what's the age of consent in Italy?
It's probably under 18.
I think it's like fucking 14 or some shit like
Probably
that.
16.
Oh!
Okay, hold on. Hold on, because in Iowa, the age of consent in Iowa is 16.
Now I got some
which is only 2 years off, but they still have
there's
that.
at least a stipulation.
Exactly. So do they have a...
That's probably not the...
Let's go back real quick so I can read that in detail. I want to see if they have a stipulation at all.
Lasagna eating
Legal framework, Italian law has set minimum... There is a close in age expectation that allows...
Or exception.
Or exception. Yeah, see, I can't hardly read that fucking shit.
That allows for consensual sexual activity between individuals aged 13 and 16 if the age gap is no more than 3 years.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's actually
so they
less.
have a stipulation as well. So, yeah, if the age of consent's 14,
dude.
Yeah, that's wild.
17-year-old fucking a 14-year-old. That's kind of weird, man.
It's fucking damn near the same thing, 16 to 14. 16-year-olds are fucking 14-year-olds all the time.
They're still in the same high school.
I don't really like that.
For the most part, yeah.
This too much, but yeah, they're still in the same high school together. I don't know.
That's fair.
Because, like
16 to 14.
Because like in some of these countries that you could like drink at like 13, 12 and all that shit.
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
Like 13, right?
Yeah. So you were thinking about sex? You were thinking about it, right?
I mean, I get it, like fucking, but like I don't know, man. It's a slippery slope.
These fucking Italians.
Yeah. These goddamn wops, these fucking.
I mean, okay, if it's a slippery slope, then why didn't we go up in arms when Iowa went to 16 years old?
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
I mean,
didn't that just happen 3 years ago?
I mean, sure,
like,
there are people that were.
Because,
I mean,
like, you know what's crazy? Like, fucking, it's kind of like a weird thing that, because, like, even in prison, there's like a lot of weirdos that, like, fucking got locked up for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
like, fucking, I hated it.
Yeah, I know. That I had a cousin that he had been dating a girl through high school.
So
he was like 19, she was 17, and he got in an argument with like her dad.
Yeah.
And so he ended up going away for statutory rape. He was after prison,
like,
though, he just went to a complete piece of shit.
All of them are piece of shit. I'm just saying, though, is that like...
Bro, if you were dating a girl through high school and now you're 19 and she's 17, you're a piece of shit.
Well,
I think that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can move on. Maybe you can go find somebody older, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. But I'm not gonna label you as a piece of shit if y'all started dating 4 years ago.
Maybe it's different. Like in the small town Iowa, dude, there was definitely guys who had been out of high school for like 2 years who had like their parents and stuff. Like their parents loved them, and they were like a senior in high school, my age, and they were dating a guy 2 or 3 years out of high school because we'd been around each other for so long.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. So it's like different to me. Big towns, I get it. There's so much more out there. I don't know. There's just like the schools are all like 30 people. Like they stick around.
Three groupings of people from Oskaloosa, like 3 couples that were senior to freshman, and then they went on to get married. But there's also at least one couple that comes in mind where a girl in my class she's married to a dude that was 2 classes behind us. So we would have been seniors and he would have been a sophomore. And she's married to him with kids.
Yeah, it's just the thing.
And it's not weird. It's really it's
nobody
not
says
weird.
shit
No,
about
it's
that.
not. Like
Nobody
because like
says a fucking.
I don't know
thing
unless
about
it's like there is a predatory way to start that, but like there's also non-predatory ways. Like
intention matters.
Exactly.
Well, okay, and here's another thing to think about with this. Like, yes, legally it's at 14, but like given the fact that it's that young, don't you think that like there's probably a lot of wiggle room where people kind of like overlook like, oh, hey, the 16-year-old's fucking a 23, 26, 30-year-old. And they kind of overlook it because
that doesn't
it's so
happen
low.
here.
But I would say
That's my point. That's my whole point of having it be so low is like with the lower that it is
You
legally.
don't even
and
believe in laws and limitations half the time.
No, I understand.
So I'm saying whether there's a limitation or no limitation, those weird inappropriate age gaps are going to happen.
Yeah.
I understand that, but regardless of whether the law is, like, I still have a moral standard.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about like the legal status of it. I'm just saying that because the legal status is set at this, that it opposite to like, you know, if I were to morally assess like, hey, 18 is the age of consent or what, like whatever.
I will say this,
like the law gives like people allowance to like just say, oh, hey, like because it's like this, like, you know, I guess like if a 16-year-old's fucking a 30-year-old or whatever, we're not gonna make a big deal. 14-year-olds are fucking.
Who says that their law says that?
I'm not saying that the law says that. I'm saying that's how people react because that's how the law is put in place.
Do you react like that because of our age of consent being 16?
No, I don't. But
so to say that other people are going to generalize it in that manner is kind of unfair.
I will say this.
I mean, I would. It's not impossible again, but I think we'd have to take a vote.
Like, I would say this. Like, that's some Iowa shit. Like, I'm from the set, so like, I'm not a part of like the whole like lowering the whole like age of consent. I would say this. Like, that is some Iowa shit. Like, where they do that, because like I go into different states and that's not really common.
What?
Know? Like, we're with the whole like
16. We are one of the lower states. Yeah.
I've been to like different states. That is some Iowa shit.
I'm pretty sure, dude. When we were still at 18, there was a bunch of other states that had lowered it to 17.
Yeah.
So what do you mean that's just some Iowa shit?
No, I'm just saying like
I think what he's talking about is like what you guys were saying was okay. Was like if like a senior's dating a freshman. Like that is some very Iowa shit. I think if you go to other cities and stuff, it's not really
like a large city. I guarantee that happens in Illinois all the time.
I'm sure it
not
does,
in the
but
larger areas.
There's like a weird. There's like this cultural thing. It's like some Christian thing. It's like there's this cultural thing where it's like if you're of a certain age, if it's like 4 years apart, I don't know. I knew couples like that in high school. I always thought it was weird as shit. I've always sure it still happens. I'm not saying that like we're gonna be able to stop that indefinitely, but we can still say whether it's right or wrong.
I mean, like they're wrapped up in the same general area together.
Oh no, like I get it, but
I mean, if you got like 3,000 people, dude, there's like a lot of people in our type of towns that are like 40, anywhere from like 20 to 40 years married that started their relationships like that too, though. So it's just like, it's just been so fucking common, I guess, that it's just like, because like we just know people like that all the time. There's people all the time that are like, oh yeah, I'm 58 and my wife is 50.
My grandma
and it's like, okay, well, we're like, okay, yeah, that happens. You guys are in your 50s. Who cares?
Well, but isn't that usually...
But then people these days are like, but that means when you were 18, she was 10. Yeah. And it's like, okay, we met when we were in our 30s. Like,
but that's different because both parties are like matured. Not. Yeah, they're matured. Both parties aren't a child. They're not 14,
but I have to look at it, dude. I get it. You're 18, like but you're not mature, though, too. Oh, when you're 18, you're still a fucking kid, dude. Like, you are adult. You are an adult, but you're, like, mentally, you are not thinking about,
sometimes people that are even older than that is still fucking mentally children.
But it's weird, though.
Later and later.
It's weird. Like, I went to college, like, at... what, like 26, 27, and like there were 18-year-olds, and like it was just weird, like being around that and thinking like, oh, like what if I like dated or fucked someone this age? Like it was just kind of a weird, creepy thought to me. Like that, I literally
a freshman in college.
Yes, I literally viewed them as children.
That's what half of them are there for, brother.
No, and it's creepy and weird. Like people, like family members who've like fucked really young chicks. Like I think it's fucking weird.
So if I was in college,
even
right
if they're
now,
18, 19,
and I was senior year of college, 22.
Sure.
And there was a freshman girl there, and she wanted to hit.
That's
not fucked her. That's weird.
That's way different than 30 or 40, man. That's way different than like a 30 or 40-year-old dating a freshman.
All
So you're telling me if I'm a college professor and I No,
weird, weird.
I'm just kidding.
But also,
I will make the bold statement.
So is it still weird? Okay, let's say I'm a college professor. I'm 43.
College is
I'm
different.
43. This girl's 23, right?
I mean, would it be frowned upon?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and let's
And will
say
you
this.
be
Let's say
fired?
this.
Yeah.
Let's say this. This is a bad bitch right here,
Well-
and she came on to me.
I mean,
This is like the Bill Belichick situation. I'm like, dude, this bitch is 24.
no, like
She is well old enough to be making her own fucking
well, okay,
decisions.
but like that's
you know
at least.
why she's there.
I'm not saying that
college
that's
is different.
immoral.
College
I'm not
is
saying it's immoral, but it's still weird.